What is going on, y'all? Mamba here, back with another trade review and market recap. Today is Tuesday of 4/29. Happy Tuesday. Pretty great day on the market. I yielded about 3,100. So let's go over the analysis and the trade for today. So coming into today, we were kind of still opening inside of yesterday's range. That's due to big tech earnings on Thursday and Friday. I forgot what companies, but like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, I believe, are reporting Thursday and Friday. So when that happens, the market tends to consolidate until those big earning releases because the indices, their market cap is comprised of those big companies. And until those earnings announced and the guidance announced and the earnings per share, we tend to consolidate. And if you look at the past 2 days, we're stuck in between two levels and two range. So you can kind of play those ranges if you want, or you can kind of just sit out and save your mental capital. I'm really risked off this week, and I'm just looking for a couple of high risk reward setups just because we are stuck in the range and those big earnings are later in the week. So let's go into the plan for today. Indices, they were showing relative weakness just because there was some tariff news. Amazon had some negative news regarding tariffs. NQ was down about 0.5%, and then ES was down like 0.77%, I believe. And I said that since we showed relative weakness, if you look at the hourly time frame, we kind of broke some structures in the pre-market. We're still in a higher time frame uptrend, but if you look at, we're kind of consolidating, we're making these lows. So I thought that potentially we could use the opening print to target these lows. But if we presented some kind of divergence, it's gonna show signs of failure to go lower, and then we can play the reversal. And that's what I did. We also had news at 7 a.m. so that could have been a factor of where the market was going. And the setups I was looking for was NQ below opening print. If we trend below that, I'm looking for shorts. So we opened up here. If we trend, we can aim for these levels below and target the levels below. And if we had a pop and fade where we kind of rallied up, presented a potential lower high, then we can short it down. But we ended up having a nice divergence, and that gave me confirmation to go long. So if we look at these opens, we opened up here on ES and NQ, and then once NQ made a low and ES did not, ES was holding its opening print with strength. That gave me a confirmation to go long. So if you look at here, right, NQ made a low, and then ES didn't make a low. That's a divergence in indices. It's showing strength, and that's a sign of reversal. You can play NQ or ES. Sometimes I'm just playing the NQ just because I'm already closer to the entries. And then you can target some pre-market highs. We had this high up here. We had this high up here, or even the level above. I opted for a closer entry around here just because that's one of the first highs of the pre-market. And then ultimately, ES, you could have held the position up until the level, but then you kind of would have held through the news, and that's not ideal. So I did play this. I was risking about 32, and I made around, actually I made around like 84 points. I got off at this candle high just because my risk reward was shifting. My stop would have been this low, and then if we pulled back, I would have lost a lot of my profits. This, especially we're in the range, I'm just trying to catch a 2 to 3 hour trade and then move on with the day, likely have a one and done. And that's exactly what I did. Once we made a new high, it took like one off, and then I held my position till like the 84 points, and it ended up being a really nice day, one and done. We did have continuation above, but then the news came out. Generally, I don't like holding through the news like that. It's a risk. So I ended up not holding through that, but the trend definitely continued up until close to the level. You could have played this, but then it's sort of a gamble of what could happen based off of the news release. We could spike up and spike down, and then once I usually generally wait like 2 minutes after the news release, and by that time there's a 63 point stop. It's the risk reward isn't really there, and then it ended up making this high, so it's like a 1-to-1, and generally I don't trade 1-to-ones like that. With that being said, you'll have a good one. Peace.